We pulling?
What's up, it's Jimfro, and this is our official guide for Zskarn. Big thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Your support means the world to us, and it's what makes these videos possible. This boss is a one-phase, bloodlust on pole, mostly single-target fight. The main mechanic of this fight revolves around the traps, which force you to constantly move and find clear openings so you don't just die from the giant dragon breaths that happen. Good tanks and good raid callouts are definitely going to make the difference here. The first thing to notice is that there's all these little discs on the ground around the room. These are the traps that the boss hasn't activated yet. So you'll start off by pulling the boss to the very edge of the room, because he frequently activates the two traps that are closest to him. And having him activate the ones on the edge of the room makes things much easier later on. When a trap is activated, it puts a pool on the ground that does damage to anyone in it and applies stacks of a heavy dot the longer that you're in it. So constantly position the boss between the two traps that you want him to activate, and then quickly move him out of the traps once they are activated, keeping him towards the edge of the room. However, when the boss gets to full energy, he casts Tactical Destruction and throws a bomb into the 3 nearest dragon statues that are around the outer edge of the room, causing each of these to let out 3 fire breaths. These breaths get bigger each time, with the third one covering basically half of the room. So whenever this cast happens, everyone needs to quickly move to the opposite edge of the room to avoid getting hit by the breaths, or else you're dead. Precise boss positioning is a huge part of being able to kill this boss, so most of your focus should be on spawning traps that will give you open space to move to whenever a breath happens. All of the other mechanics in this fight are also super deadly, but aren't part of the boss's positioning. So let's go over those. When he activates the 2 traps closest to him, he also activates a random trap around the room. These traps can be really annoying depending on where they spawn, but luckily there's another mechanic that lets you deactivate a limited number of traps. The golems. The boss occasionally spawns 4 golem adds around the room that run to random traps and try to activate them. Any golem ad you kill becomes lootable, providing a one-time use extra action button that deactivates the closest active trap when used. So it's super important that you CC and kill these golems quickly and then deactivate some unfortunately placed traps. Otherwise, you're going to run out of room real fast. And you're going to need that room because the boss occasionally casts a raid-wide knockback away from him that does damage and applies a long dot. Try to stay positioned for this throughout the fight so that you never get knocked into any traps. Melee might want to try and position themselves to get hit into the invisible wall around the edge of the room whenever possible. For the tanks, the boss has 2 tank mechanics. The first is that his auto attacks leave stacks of a long dot, so the tanks need to taunt swap at as few stacks as possible. And the second is that he throws a few of these bombs on the ground that need to be soaked within 30 seconds or else they explode on the raid. Soaking a bomb does a crazy amount of physical damage and leaves a stack of a different heavy dot, so the off tank needs to use a big defensive cooldown and run through as many of the bombs as possible to save the raid. Some immunities might work for soaking these bombs too, so designating a set of bombs to be immune could be a huge relief for the tanks, but your mileage may vary. And finally on heroic, random players get a dot debuff that also pulses damage to anyone within the little circle that goes around them. Everyone just needs to stay away from these debuff players. And that's pretty much it. Here's a quick recap of the fight for you to review or screenshot for later. Our Patreon supporters get these guides early, so if you're interested in that, check out the links below. Peace.